Hi, welcome to This Expat Life. My name is Amanda Maxime, and as a certified coach, I help high-achieving expats find more fulfillment and happiness in their global lives. Because while life abroad is often amazing, it is not only rainbows and butterflies, as all experienced expats know. In This Expat Life, I open up space for all facets of life abroad and what you can do to thrive in it. And to support you in your personal, professional, and geographic life transitions, I share tips, tell relatable stories, and connect with fellow expats. Whether you've just moved abroad or you are a seasoned expat, This Expat Life is your place to find real understanding and to grow from the inside out. Enjoy the show. Hey, welcome back to This Expat Life. I have just come back from California, although I say just, but actually it's been almost 2 weeks since I got back at the time of recording. But it still feels so very vivid in my head that it feels like I have just returned. And I was there for a business event and I added a few days of fun and travel to it. So I was gone for about just 12 days. But this trip has made such a big impact on me in the best way possible. And those insights actually led to a breakthrough. And I thought, hey, I want to share those insights with you because our context is probably pretty different. But I know that many of my listeners share a lot of similar qualities and struggles that I have. And so I thought if they are useful for me, they might be useful for you as well. So in this episode, I'm going to share those insights that I had, insights that really led to a paradigm shift. It's a big word, but it has really felt that way. Like all of a sudden, I see the world, or my world specifically, in a different context, which is allowing a different experience and different kind of action. I don't think I'm going to share a lot about that breakthrough in this episode yet. That might be for another time, but who knows where I will end up. But for now, I just want to share those insights as well as my tips on how you can use them for your own life so that they're really valuable to you as well, despite our different contexts. So why was I in California? I went there because I'm a part of the Next Level program by a business mentor, James Wedmore. And this program has been great. It has really helped me to build stronger foundations of my business, to scale it. And I'm really happy in that program. And part of the program, besides monthly calls and stuff like that, is also 2 in-person events in the US. And so just last month, we had our second event of the year in California. The first one was in Phoenix, Arizona, where I was in April. And I also attended actually one of his bigger live events in California in December. And every time I came back from these trips, I thought, I want to share my insights with my podcast listeners, but I never really got around to it. So this time I thought, yes, I'm going to do it. So the event was only for 2 days, and I added a couple of days beforehand in California and also after the event to have some integration time, as a lot of coaches call it, because the last time at the event I went straight back home, which was Rio at that time. And I was full of energy and inspiration, but I also got sucked back into my daily business. And it was nice to have a bit of integration time, this time with another participant of the program. And seriously, I had the best of times. I actually thought it wouldn't be as good as the last time. So the last time I was in California was in December for this big live event. And that was my first time in the US, even though I've been dreaming of going to the US for so long. And it was so special that time, and especially that event. I actually walked around with tears in my eyes because I just felt so at home and understood and seen by all these people, that I thought, okay, this time California is going to be fun, but it might not succeed the trip I made last time. So I had a bit of lower expectations. I had also just come back from Rio. I was back home for a month. So it wasn't really my priority to right away travel again. And of course, this business retreat was, but I thought, I don't want to make a whole big trip out of it. But to just fly for 2 days, that's not my style either. So that's why in total I spent 11, 12 days in California. And why was this an amazing trip? Well, I don't know, just a lot of things clicked for me. There were a lot of synchronicities, a lot of perfect timing kind of things. For example, I very, very last minute changed my plan. So I had spent a couple of days in LA, and my plan was to then take the train to San Diego and from there go to Irvine, the OC, where the event was taking place. But just last minute, actually, San Diego felt a bit like, I chose it because it was convenient, but my heart wasn't in it. And then 2 days before my trip was, or not even, a day and a half, I think, before I was supposed to go to San Diego, I saw that I was still able to change my booking for free. And coincidentally, I saw that the same train was going to Santa Barbara. I found a really nice hostel for not a lot of money, and a hostel that seemed really nice. So very last minute, the day before, I changed my whole itinerary and I went to Santa Barbara. And at that hostel, I had 2 very deep connections with people who were also there. And this was so special because both of these people had already been in the hostel without knowing it from each other. Both had left to LA. Both didn't like it. Both returned to Santa Barbara because they felt like, oh, I'll just go back on the same day without knowing it from each other. And they arrived a day before me. And I also had changed my plans very last minute. So it really felt like it was meant to be to meet these 2 people there and to hang out with them and have the really deep conversations that I had with them. And to share a little bit about what do I mean with deep connection. One of these people was a woman who was sleeping in the bunk bed above me. Yes, I went all hostel style. And as she got onto her bed, I warned her like, ooh, I talk a lot in my sleep and I sometimes have night terrors. So I'm sorry if I wake you up. She's like, that's cool. And the next day she saw me. She was like, Amanda, you were terrified last night when I walked down to go to the bathroom, but I can help you. Now I know why I came back. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm naturally intrigued when people tell me this. Turns out she's also a sort of like coach, healer. She does a lot of inner child work. And she said, I can help you and I want to do it for free. And so I had a really beautiful session with her in one of the rooms in the hostel where we did like inner child healing. And it was really beautiful and emotional. And I'm very open to these kinds of things happening or unfolding in my life. But I was really surprised by the perfect timing of it all. Also with the other person, the 2 of them also had a really deep connection. It all felt like we all had to be there at that hostel. And I know a lot of people felt that in that hostel there. So it might be a very special place. So this is one of the things that happened that I felt like, hey, this is already such an amazing trip, even before the business event had even started. At the business event, like I have a good eye for synchronicities. I've started to develop that eye a bit more to see synchronicities appearing in my life. And one of the participants also shared something. I think I can share it here because it's anonymous. We did a lot of inner work at this business retreat. It was all about personal breakthroughs. And he shared a story on the second day. So on the first day, we had done some inner work about narratives that we had been telling ourselves. And on the second day, he told us, yesterday I worked on a story, a narrative that has been playing in my head, and I called it queer shame. And my business hasn't been performing super well in the last 2 months, and I can't identify why that is. And I've been telling myself stories, and they're all based on this queer shame. Then after that first day, he told us, he went to his room, he checked his email, and he got an email out of the blue from a media platform that he had never spoken to before that asked him, can we interview you on queer shame? Wow. I kid you not. Like, it just feels like every time, and so many other people had stories like this, it just feels like every time at these events, stories like these happen. Like, there are little synchronicities coming up. We see signs that we know have a meaning. Things are happening that seem more than coincidence. So it's really nice when you can open yourself to these things. Because to me, this is how I feel about it. There are little signs of the universe that are telling you you're on the right path, keep going. So for me as well, I didn't have such a beautiful synchronicity at the event, but I have these bracelets. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see them. Maybe you've seen them on some photos from me before. And I had this blue bracelet for good luck that I got at the Iemanjá, the goddess of the sea, party or celebration in Brazil. And it is a bracelet for good luck. You tie it around your wrist 3 times and you can make 3 wishes. Now, that bracelet was of super cheap material, and it got so ugly within a couple of weeks. And a couple of months later, it was just this really thin thread. And that was it. Like, it looked like I was wearing plastic around my wrist. But given that everything that has happened in the past couple of years, so many deaths around me and other things, I was too terrified to cut it off because, that brings bad luck. Yes, I know I shouldn't be thinking this way, but I thought I'm not going to play around with the universe. I'll just keep this thing around my wrist, even though it looks so, so ugly. And I remember on day 2, I was sitting at the event and I was listening. And I was a bit bored because there was a part that I felt like I've done this multiple times as a coach. And I saw the bracelet again and I thought, this damn thing, like it has this tiny thread still and it's just not getting off. And probably for another year or so, this thread, this part is so strong that it's not going to fall off. And I was so annoyed. And then I put my attention to the event again and I went to the bathroom. And when I came back, and this was all just 20 minutes later, I looked at my wrist again and the bracelet was gone. And I'm like, what? And it felt like I really wanted to say out loud, like, what happened? I had no idea where it went. I didn't see it falling down. It wasn't around my seat. It was just gone. And it felt so funny to me that I was just thinking about this bracelet just 20 minutes before. And I had thought about this bracelet more often and it had never fallen off. And now I'm at this event where I'm like in such a special environment, working on myself and working with energy as well. And then I think about this bracelet and then poof, it's gone. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So now, of course, my wishes are all going to come true, which is really nice. So it's these little things that just kept on happening, meeting the right people at the right time, having these little synchronicities, hearing about other people's stories, and just really being so happy there. I am there with a group that is super like-minded. We're all on the same path. We're all super different. We all have our own challenges and our own different kinds of businesses. No, not everyone is a coach, but we're all like built in the same way. We all want to make the world a bit better. We all want to succeed. We want to be successful, but in a really sustainable, loving way. And it is so nice to be surrounded by people that think more or less the same as you, so that you don't need to explain yourself all the time, so that you don't need to worry about what people might think, or that you feel misunderstood because, well, yeah, I do feel that way sometimes here back home because I don't have this kind of group around me. So anyway, long introduction to why this trip was so amazing. So it was a really, really nice trip and I'm so glad I went and that I went there open-minded, with an open heart and just allowed things to unfold for me, and they did. So let's go to the insights that I promised you. The first insight that I got, I think I'm going to share 3 with you guys here, is that the US really is my next level. Now, let me explain. Our environment impacts us more than we realize. Or maybe you already realized this. Maybe you are in a country, in a city that makes you pretty unhappy. And whenever you go to another certain place, often a specific place, you feel much happier. Our environment really impacts so much about how we feel. And that's our direct environment where we live, but also a bigger environment of the city and the country that we're in. And I knew for a long time, I've been wanting to go to the US for so long. I have a very, very strong feeling that I'm going to live there in a couple of years. I don't know for how long, maybe just a short period, but I thought this way about several places before and it always came true. And I just felt really good every time in the US. I felt more spacious. I felt more clear. And I like how the US is making me feel. But what I realized this time was that the US really enables my next level. I don't feel my next level in the Netherlands. I feel at home. I feel comfortable here in the Netherlands, but it doesn't bring out my next level. And that has partly to do with, I think, the mentality and the culture here. There's a big, strong culture of, just behave normally. Don't stand out too much. Otherwise, your head is going to be chopped off. We have a saying around this. And I think it's my home culture. Like, I feel at home here, but it's not necessarily a culture that allows me to dream more, to make bigger, bolder moves. And I do feel that way in the US. So I really feel like my next level is there, or at least that is the environment that is enabling my next level. And this next level part is really big to me because for a long time I made a lot of small tweaks to my life and I upgraded it. But when I started putting myself in surroundings and environments where bigger moves were supported and stimulated, I really got to reach my next level. And so I got to a next level when I switched from diplomacy to entrepreneurship. And now I have a next level around certain things in my life again. And this is also why I created a group program for the most ambitious expats in my coaching, and also a few newcomers who want to join. It's called the Next Level Expedition, because I really want to help you to get out of your usual way of doing and thinking and being so that you can reach your next level. So let me get back to the topic. In the US, I feel my next level. And I also realized that maybe I'm a little bit done with Latin America. So for my entire adult life, since I was 19, I have been to Latin America every single year, if I wasn't already living there. I spent, I think, almost 6 years in Latin America in total. And if I wasn't living there, I would go there for a trip or a holiday. And I love Latin America. I love it so much. This will forever be my biggest love. But it kind of feels like home now as well. It feels like my comfort zone. Like if I go back to Brazil and to Rio, it just feels like, I don't know, just another place in my home country, so to say. I just added that region to my comfort zone, and that doesn't enable my next level anymore. And I feel in the US, I really do enable my next level there. So my insight was really about that a specific place, the US in my case, is enabling my next level. Now, the thing about environments and where we are going, there is a very gray area at some point, and that is, or a tipping point, I have to say, and that is it a country that I need to change, or do I need to change? So a lot of expats, at some point they feel stuck or unhappy, and they just think, okay, this country is not working out for me anymore. I need to move. Whereas a lot of those people would benefit from going inwards and really assessing what's going on the inside so that they can make changes inside of themselves and experience better things on the outside. You know, wherever you go, that's where you are. You always bring yourself. I don't need to tell you this. So the answer is not always in changing your environment, but sometimes it is. And so to make this more applicable to your life, what country, area, or city is unlocking your next level? And do you even know how your next level looks? Is it about your career or your love life or family or health or something else? And if you can determine what your next level is about, are you then in the right environment to unlock that next level? Or do you need to be somewhere else? Now, you don't have to move to unlock that next level with the right environment. You can also give yourself several trips to the place like I'm doing right now. But this is something to really think about. If your development is like a plant, it needs to be in the right environment, in the right soil to blossom and to bloom. So are you in the right environment, or are you in a place that is keeping you at your current level? By the way, if you like thinking about your next level, then my group program is really for you, because the Next Level Expedition is starting again on the 14th of October. So take a look in the show notes if you want to know how you can join. All right, that was the first insight that I got there right away when I landed in LA. The second one, let me take a look at my notes, is that this is a personal one. I am not as present as I would like to be. And what do I mean with that? We did an exercise at the event on the first day where I noticed this. Now, for a long time, fast thinker. I'm easily distracted. I might have a bit of ADHD. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the 21st century and modern technology that does it to my brain. I don't really care actually what the cause is. But I know that I would benefit from being more present and being more focused with my attention. And I've done a lot of work on that already. And I've also done a lot of work on being more present in connection to others and in connection to myself. And I know that there is still a lot of room for growth left for me on both sides, so the focus and the connection part. And it became really visible for me when I did this exercise. So the exercise was very simple. We had to find a partner. So the woman next to me and I did this exercise together. And we had to look each other in the eye for, I think, a full 2 minutes. And that was the whole exercise. And right away, when I looked her in the eyes, I already was a bit emotional due to the exercise that we did before. But I looked her in the eyes and I just felt so much warmth and so much love coming from her that made me even more emotional. So I had tears in my eyes and then she got tears in her eyes. And then what happened was that I checked out. I was having eye contact with her. I noticed that, but I wasn't really in contact with her. I was somewhere else. My mind just took off. And it's almost like I wouldn't call it an outer body experience. It wasn't that, but as if my mind was somewhere above. It had just taken off and my body was still there. And so even though I had eye contact, my soul wasn't really in it because I was somewhere else. And it took me maybe a full minute to come back from that and to then have real contact again. And then I felt the tears coming up again. And this little exercise, it was so simple yet so profound. I've done this exercise actually before in my coaching program as well, the training that I got myself to become a coach. And it is such a simple exercise, but it shows you so much about how you are in life. As with many exercises that you do with the body. That's why I often include body exercises in my coaching. So you can know it rationally, but to really experience it also in something so simple as like this exercise makes the insight much more profound. So I really felt like, damn, I'm checking out. Why am I doing this? And I realized that in other areas in my life, I am also not 100% present. Yeah, so I am super present when I coach. Like that is a non-negotiable. It happens naturally. And also with friends, like when I'm really seeing them. But when it's about being alone and having WhatsApp contact or doing some stuff for my business, like I always do 10 different things at the same time. And I realize I'm not fully present in what I'm doing at that exact moment. Or sometimes even with the person that I'm talking to, if it's just like WhatsApp messages or voice notes. And sometimes I'm not fully present in my body because my mind is just elsewhere. My mind is in the future. My mind is mostly in the future and sometimes overthinking the past. But I'm always like thinking about what's going to come, what I need to do. I'm always busy overthinking things. I'm exaggerating this a little bit. It's not as black and white, but this is really a pattern that I was already spotting before California and something that I thought I want to change this because I'm at such high speed going through life that I can't really be present in where I am, and that affects how I feel. So yeah, this was a really deep insight for me because I really felt it, and that I'm not super present, that I can just tune out even when my only task is to have eye contact, and without breaking eye contact, I can still leave the connection. And I'm sharing this one, even though it's very personal, because I know a lot of people are like this, at least the people that I coach, and I guess also the people that listen to this episode or this podcast. There are a lot of people, high achieving expats, and their lives are so full. They're so busy. They are going through life at such high speed. They have to juggle so many different things at once. Their demanding career, but also building a social circle in the country that they're living in while maintaining another social circle. They have their own personal goals. They like to set the bar high for themselves. And so they juggle a lot of things. And to make it all work, their mind is going so fast. their mind is racing because they think about the future, what they need to do. They come up with solutions. Basically, they're trying to control their lives through their brains. And I was very guilty of this too. And so if you recognize a little bit of what I'm describing right now, you might also benefit from being more present in your life. So to make this insight applicable to your life, ask yourself, am I always really present in the things that I'm doing and in the connection that I have with others and in the connection that I have with myself? Am I present to what is going on inside of me and around me as I'm listening to this episode, for example? When in contact with others, am I really present and vulnerable? And can I really open up? Because what actually happened in my eye contact exercise was that this person saw right through me. She had like direct contact with my soul. And this is when I left, I checked out because I know this because I've done so much coaching. I know this rationally. I wasn't aware of it in that moment, but it probably felt too vulnerable for me. And I'm not always comfortable with being vulnerable around strangers. So I kind of like put a wall in between so I could flee with my mind elsewhere. And what was really special was that after this exercise, and there was already build up, right? So there was some emotion going on inside of me. And that exercise, I really had to settle down again, calm down again, to put my feet on the floor, to feel like, okay, I'm here. It really did something to me. After that exercise, we went straight to lunch and I sat with this woman and then two girls came to sit at our table and they said, can we just say, you are so beautiful and you have such loving energy around you? And I was like, oh, wow. Thank you. Wow. It was so special to hear that. And I'm convinced that they said that because the armor that I can sometimes have around strangers or even with friends was gone. Because of this eye contact exercise, it was just pure energy. There was no wall in between us. And that's why I'm really asking you also, can you be vulnerable in your connections? Can you show up as yourself without the usual armor? And you might be listening to this and think, I already do that. But what I've seen in coaching, getting coached and coaching myself, is that so many of us actually put masks on because we're afraid to get hurt again. We're ashamed. We tend to avoid possible pain. So we protect ourselves a little bit. And this happens with the smallest moves, in the smallest ways, that's probably you're not even aware of, because it takes a lot of body awareness to feel like, oh, I'm actually doing that. And this is why this exercise is so simple, but so profound, because this helps you to check in with yourself where you're feeling that and experiencing that in your body. So take a moment to really assess, am I really present and in contact with myself and with others and with the tasks that I'm doing? And when am I not? And can I change something about that? Can I be more present in some areas or connections that I want to deepen a bit more? Because the moment you can be more present, the moment your connections will deepen as well. And I actually put this right away into practice. And in a connection with someone else, I felt that armor coming back again. So this was not in the eye contact exercise. And I thought, no, I want to be present and I want to be with the emotions that I'm feeling right now. So I'm making space for them. So yeah, I would really like to invite you to do the same. And if you want to share anything about that, let me know, because I love hearing if this did anything for you. Okay, and then the third insight was the most profound one. It was the deepest one. It literally gave a shock to my body when I felt it. Again, the body was present. And it was something that I already knew rationally, my mind was aware of it, but this time I could really feel it. So what was going on? We were doing another exercise in a group of 5. And this was so funny because we had our eyes closed, yet at some point their attention shifted to me with their eyes closed, my eyes closed. And I felt my heart starting to beat a bit louder and faster. My breath got a little bit more shallow and I started to feel like I was getting red. So what was going on here? We were in groups of 5 and we were using the power of silence. And each of us was allowed to bring in a question, only that question, nothing else was said. And then we would sit on it quietly on this question for 2 minutes. So the 4 other people would focus their attention either to you, to the question, or to just general meditation or like inner cleansing or something like that. And that was it. It was a very simple exercise. So I had just put out my question to the group and then we all closed our eyes. And even with all the eyes closed, I still felt their eyes on me. And this was so interesting. And you might not really think this about me, but I get really shy in groups. So one-on-one, I can be pretty dominant. I also have no issues talking on the podcast, opening up vulnerably. In the beginning, it was more difficult, but now I feel like, whatever. It doesn't really scare me that much. But in really bigger groups or unknown groups, I get a little bit shy. I don't mind giving presentations and stuff like that. That's all cool. But when it's about spontaneously saying something or really being seen and having all the attention on me, I get shy and I rather just observe and not be the center of attention. And so I felt that same reaction when it was my turn. And even though all their eyes were closed and mine were closed too, I still had that same physical reaction to it. And I was just like, what? Why? Like, this is so weird. And this is when I realized, with a shock to my body, I really felt a little move that, and this was the inside, the eyes on me are not here to criticize me, but they are here to support me. And that was such a mind-blowing thing. And again, something that I knew more or less, but now I could really feel it. Because having grown up with a very critical dad and alcoholic parents, there was a lot of unpredictability in the house and a lot of criticism. And it wasn't very safe for me to just be the center of attention and speak up. And so what I've really learned, that in environments where I don't really know the context or the dynamics, like in a group like this, I tend to observe more than I speak. And that is because apparently there is a default mode in me that thinks, oh, if the eyes are all on me, they're out there looking for me doing something wrong because they're here to criticize me. Now, obviously, this is not something that I think consciously, and this is the result I got from a lot of coaching to understand what subconsciously happens to me. And we all have these kind of things. But yeah, it has always prevented me from really speaking up and taking the stage in a spontaneous way. And now I really felt that. But these loving women around me, they're here to support me. They're here meditating on my question because I asked them to. And I felt it really in my body, like, whoa, duh. And this was the most profound insight because it unlocked a few other things in other exercises, which led to my immense breakthrough. Just to see, like, hey, they are here to support me, not to criticize me, or they're here to learn from me, not to criticize me. And I realized that actually this subconsciously expecting of criticism was what has been holding me back in really scaling up my business. So I'm really good one-on-one. I'm also pretty good in small groups because that feels comfortable to me. But I haven't really scaled to the level of really big groups because this was holding me back. Now I see it. And this is part of the paradigm shift that I had. And now I see everything in such a different light, and it has changed everything for me. And I'm also going to take different kind of action. But I think I'm going to share more about that in another episode. But this insight was like the start of it all. And then breakthrough after breakthrough happened. So yeah, that was really amazing. And again, to make this one also applicable to your life, where are you fearing the eyes on you? Some of you might be having a really good, successful career and do not mind taking the stage at all. They feel really confident, literally on stage, or being the center of attention, or really taking the lead on a new, exciting project while everyone is looking at you. Some of you are like that, but I know a lot of you aren't. Because before going to California, I shared something that I was really afraid to ask for the microphone at these events where there are like 250 people all watching you. And I asked who feels the same way. And I did a little poll on Instagram, and I think it was like 94% that said that they felt the same way. And I wasn't really shocked, but I was like, ooh, I didn't expect so many people to struggle with the same thing. And so I know that a lot of you fear the eyes on you as well. And it might be in this business context that you're afraid to literally ask for the microphone. But maybe some of you are really good at that. And if you are good in the career aspects, maybe you fear the eyes when it comes to a really deep, vulnerable one-on-one connection. When people see right through you, just like my friend at the event did. So I'm asking you, like, where do you fear the eyes on you? And I'm willing to put my hand in the fire. Is that even a saying in English? But in Dutch it is. I'm willing to bet that everyone fears some eyes somewhere in their lives, in some area of their lives. I don't think anyone is immune to feeling the eyes on you. And I'm coaching some people who are incredibly successful. Like, I look up to them like, wow, you got a really good career, and the things you're doing and the decisions you're making, wow, really high level, big stakes. And then we talk about something in their personal life, and all of a sudden they get so small and shy because they're too afraid to put it out there what they want, or to ask for it, or to share about how they feel. So I am 100% sure that you also feel eyes on you and that you fear them. And maybe it's in this professional context, maybe it's being on stage in front of a big group, maybe it's in a deep one-on-one connection, or maybe it's something else. But my question to you is, where do you fear the eyes on you? And what do you really fear about them? Because I found out exactly what I feared. And this helped me also to overcome it, because together with a coach of this next level program, I was able to make it super specific what I'm fearing. And now I know, oh, it's just that number of people. So it becomes a really easy, simple thing for me to achieve. I would also be really curious for this answer. So please feel free to send me a DM with insights if you got any, or journal on these questions, because they're really good questions to think about. And they might not unlock the same level of insights that I got for you, because they're like going through the brain if you journal on them. But maybe you can do this eye gazing exercise with someone. Or maybe you can raise your hand next time in a really big meeting just to try out, okay, how do I feel when I have all these eyes on me? Or what happens when I open up in a one-on-one conversation? And to really make it also like a body experience, because you'll get so much more out of that than just looking at this question through the mind. All right, those were the 3 biggest insights that I got. There was more. I also realized that I apparently like being with people more than I thought. So I identify as an ambivert. Like, I'm not an introvert, but I'm definitely not an extrovert. Like, I really need a lot of me time by myself. But in California, I spent a full week constantly nonstop with people. At the event, there were 200, but also before, I was in a hostel all the time and I was hanging out with so many people there. So like 24/7, it felt like I was with people, except for when I slept. But even in the dorm, I was there with other people. And what I realized is that I didn't actually need so much me time as I initially thought. I really, really liked being with so many people because it made me feel more present in the here and now and not so much in my head, which was amazing. And I actually really missed it. I felt such a huge contrast when I got back to the Netherlands, and it was just my normal life here. And my friends are busy. Their calendar is full for the next month. Some people are moving or on holiday. So I felt a bit like, ooh, now all of a sudden I feel very alone. So it was a really big contrast that made me think, okay, maybe I do need to add a little bit more social time to my life. But what I also realized in California while I was being with so many people was that I also didn't have a lot of space to reflect and to integrate. So I felt like all these huge shifts had been happening to me, but I couldn't really process them because I was all the time with people and there were all the time things to go to. And I know that a lot of people live their lives this way. Their life is full. They work hard. after work, they have social stuff planned. On the weekends, they have their family, their sports, more social stuff, a skill they want to learn, a hobby they want to practice, and their lives is full. And what I really saw in California, if my days are so full, I don't really have any time to digest this stuff mentally. And if you don't digest those things, you also cannot make full intentional decisions going forward, because then you're just operating from a high speed standard, I don't know, point of view, I guess, your usual way of being. And if you want to make intentional choices, you need to sit with these things, these shifts that have just been happening, or you need to make time to feel how a certain person is making you feel, or what an exercise is doing to you. So yeah, those were some insights I also got confirmed again from being with people nonstop. And another thing that I realized again, and I already knew this from my coaching trainings, was that alone you can go far, but together you go much farther, or actually much deeper. So yes, alone I can journal on these questions and I can find some insights. Like, I knew rationally that people are there to support me, not just to criticize me, or that I wasn't fully present. But it was only in relation to other people that I got these huge shifts, these deep insights, that I really felt them with a shock to my body. Like, I really felt the effect of it in my body. And this is how I had my paradigm shift. It wasn't going through the mind by myself. It was experiencing it in relation to other people. And this is why it's so important to not see your personal development journey as a solo journey. You need other people to trigger you, to challenge you, to inspire you, to go farther, to go deeper. And in-person events or trainings are a fantastic way to get that experience together with other people. And this is also why I'm so excited about my own in-person live event happening on the 28th of September in Amsterdam, because I want to enable similar shifts and insights to the people who are joining. And it's going to be such a fun afternoon. It's going to be an afternoon to experience my coaching, to do fun and deep exercises, to get to a different understanding of some of the things that have been holding you back. So not just going through it rationally through the brain, but really doing cool exercises that help you see a different perspective. And the overall theme of it is going to be that we had this really nice summer period with a lot of space. Well, I'm speaking for most of you, I guess, in the Northern Hemisphere, but a lot of space to zoom out a little bit, to let go of work stress, to be in a different environment, and to really see, oh, this is what I want for my life, or I'm not super happy with this, or, oh, I feel so relaxed now. I wish I could hold on to it as I return back home and to work. And so it has like an Indian summer theme where we're going to bring that spaciousness that we felt over summer into the busy autumn period. Because I know a lot of you want to make changes to their lives, maybe not big changes, but small changes. But you keep finding yourself in the same patterns, or busy life takes over again, and you start with good intentions, but a few weeks down the road and you're just like stuck in square one. So I'm going to help you with exercises to see where your block really is and what you can remove, so you can hold on to that nice spacious energy of summer and really bring that with you into the rest of the year, so that you can stay committed to your own path and really get towards the life that you're dreaming of. So if you want to join, you are very, very welcome. It's going to be on the 28th of September in central Amsterdam from 1:30 till 5:30. That's 4 hours of like coaching stuff. And then we're also having a drink to cheers to our journey after 5:30. And this is such a great way to, as I said, get a new perspective, also get some practical tips from me, but also really leave with renewed energy and with a bigger network of like-minded people. Because I tend to attract really nice people that also get along really well. They are people who are interested in their own personal growth, and they're kind and they're good-hearted. They're very open to trying out new things, and they just want to make the most of the life that they're living. And so if you are the same and you want to experience some of my coaching, this is such a great opportunity to do that and to meet like-minded people. Friendships have been formed before at my live event, so I hope that this will happen again. I will put the link in the show notes so you can take a look. And for now, I just hope that you will journal on some of these questions that I put out to you, that you enjoyed hearing about my insights and maybe had a little conclusion for yourself already as well. And please feel free to reach out if this episode did anything for you. I would love to hear. And I wish you a really good day wherever you are, and I'll talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.